Right now, I am being joined via Zoom by Dr. Roberts. I'm going to be discussing these issues further with Dr. Roberts Ogbonna Ngwu. He is the special advisor to the Honorable Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology. Welcome to Market Insight, Dr. Roberts Ogbonna Ngwu. Thank you for joining us this morning on Market Insight.
Thank you for having me.
We're discussing Nigeria's ban on food exportation to help us to sufficiently feed our own local population very well before we start exporting our grains, particularly food items like rice, like beans, like sorghum, millets, those grains in particular. These grains it's been difficult for them to get to the end consumers. So I wanted to ask you, how has the Ministry of Science and Technology been able to partner with farmers to improve agriculture in Nigeria?
Well, we have used one of our agencies, the biotechnology. We're using biotechnology to improve the kind of seedlings you have for farmers. Right now, we're in the month of March. For the first time, we're going to release a commercial variant of what you call teller maize. Teller maize will allow farmers to have, let me give you an example. Previously, no matter how good you are in Nigeria, like you're growing maize, most times your harvest is going to be maybe 2 metric tons per hectare, or maybe 3 metric tons if you're so wonderful. But right now, with this new variant that we're going to introduce to the market this March, you're going to be having 15 to 20 metric tons per hectare. So, and this seedling is also drought resistant, and also it is pest resistant. So by this time next year, we're not going to have problem with maize. But your question about the other crops where there's a ban on exportation, I think is the right call in the right time, because even before now, because of the way the country is laid out, and because we don't have a rail network intact, and so you have people who their job every day is to buy goods cheap from the farmers, and then they take it down to the south or other parts of Nigeria and sell it more expensive. And now, this is why the price of goods are kind of different places around the country. And now, exportation is a different introduction, because now, not only that the food you have is not enough, because some of the farmers, not even the farmers are anxious to sell their product. But you have a lot of middlemen who go out of their way to store these products. They store it and wait for dry season to sell it. And so now you have them exporting it instead of moving it around the country. So it is the right time to make this call so that we can stop this exportation. But in order to do that, we have to be able to man our borders. You know, if our borders are porous, how are you going to stop these people from moving these products out of the country? So that's one of the things you have to look into as well.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Yes, improving our security. And also, yes, you also mentioned the use of creating pest-resistant crops, which is going to be very helpful to farmers. But how can we use technology to connect Nigerian farmers to markets, actually? Because in more Western countries, in Europe and in America, they've actually been able to use drones and other technological means to connect farmers to the market in terms of also bringing their produce there and avoiding any middleman interaction. So how can we do that in Nigeria using technology to connect farmers to the market?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Hello?
Okay, I said, how can we use technology to connect Nigerian farmers to the market so that we can eliminate any middleman issue completely?
Okay, that's a very good question. So what you have now, there's a lot of people coming up with, so these things present opportunities for people who are technologically inclined to start coming up with it's even some other guys I witnessed the other day, they're building drones that should be able to, we should be able to use drones to deliver goods and services across the country. Since we're having issues with rail for the meantime, and I know the government has a plan to do the rail network across the country. There's also talk about the coastal roads going from Lagos to Cross River. When all these things, all these infrastructures start getting into place, it's going to be helpful to begin to take care of these problems. Now, with the issue of, I know the government has a plan of coming up with commodity, we call it commodity, not association. Government has a plan to come up with commodity plan, whereby the government can buy off goods from farmers and then make it available, maybe in 774 local governments across the country, and sell it at a controlled price. When we begin to have these things in place, it's going to help to alleviate the food crisis. But most importantly, the reason why you also have food crisis is the issue of insecurity. People are not going to the farms to grow their food, and I know the government has a plan to have series of satellites and drones that will be able to help to keep this country secure. We need technology to keep the country secure, and until that happens, we're still going to be having the same problem.
That with us, Dr. Robert Ogbonna Ngwu. Yes, okay, just before you go, with increased technology, the adoption of technology by Nigerian farmers, actually, how can we ensure equitable benefits for all stakeholders in the Nigerian agricultural sector? That's including for women farmers and also for smaller communities in the rural areas. How can we ensure that there's equitable benefits for all stakeholders in the agricultural sector?
Well, most importantly, we must get the governors involved, the governors and the local government chairman, especially the local government chairman. Because right now, all eyes are usually at the center, the federal government. The federal government is too far away in Abuja for somebody who is in Gusau, for somebody who is in Abeokuta, for somebody who is in Choba, in Rivers. The federal government is too far away for them, but the local government is close home. So we must find a way to have the independence of the local government governance. Until you do that, we're going to continue having this problem because the money that goes to local government has become ATM for governance. We must stop that because local government should be able to grow, should be able to identify hectares and acres of land in their communities and do off-taking arrangements with their farmers in their area. When they have money available to them, they should be able to implement these plans. In this case, what we hear around the country is that the local government money comes in and they disappear. They get downloaded, they get offloaded. And until that happens, that's why you created the local government system, so that they will get closer to the people in the communities. So that's the reform. Local government reform is extremely important. These things are all interrelated. I must be aware of that.
Dr. Robert Ogbonna Ngwu on how we can actually partner Nigeria's technology with also the farmers, not just farmers in our states, but also in the rural areas too, and how we should also improve on insecurity for farmers so that they'll be able to go back to their farmlands. And it's also how to use technology to effectively improve on our local food production. It was really wonderful having you on Market Insight this morning. We do hope to have you on the show again. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Nice talking to you.
So let's take a look at our money market figures just before we round up the show this morning, actually. So we're going to be looking at the selling rates of the Naira and also in both the Central Bank of Nigeria and at the parallel market too. So as usual, we know that the figures from the parallel markets are always higher than the central bank figures. So those are money market figures this morning. So today on Tuesday, the 12th of March, actually, the Naira is actually selling at the official CBN rate. The Naira is selling at 1,550 Naira, and in the parallel market is selling for 1,615 Naira. While the pound sterling at the money market in the Central Bank of Nigeria rate is 2,017 Naira, and the unofficial rate it is 2,030 Naira, while the euro is selling for 1,726 Naira at the official market rate, and the unofficial market rate is 1,720 Naira. So those are our money market rates this morning, Tuesday, 12th of March. And that's our time this morning on Market Insights as we discuss Nigeria's ban on the exportation of grains and how this would benefit us in the country to help us with our food crisis situation. And we hope to actually forestall any prediction that has to do with according to the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, that there might be an increased food crisis situation in over 26 states in the country. So we hope that this ban, even though it's temporary, will be able to help us with this situation, and also the local food products like grains and other consumptions that we need in terms of vegetables and tomatoes will also get to the local consumers in all over the country, whether you're in the north, south, east or west. So I remain your host for Market Insights. My name is Lovina Emma. Stay tuned to our other programs on Souq News.